I'm Ronnie Crawford. I grew up in a Christian home and in church, but I never really had a relationship with Christ, which kind of led me to come to the conscious decision that I didn't want to be a part of that group. I didn't want to be a Christian, and I was okay with going to hell. In fact, I had made it my mission to take as many people to hell with me as possible. I remember people used to try to come lead me to Christ, and after a conversation, I would have them leaving confused about their own faith and status, and that is something I took a lot of pride in at the time.
So I always grew up with this idea that God was kind of this father figure looking down on you, tisk-tisking when you did wrong, and then giving you a good pat on the back whenever you did good works and good deeds.
For 34 years, I continued that path until we started sending our oldest son to VCA, and then on a Father's Day weekend camping trip, my middle son asked if Jesus lived in my heart.
And Ronnie and I both just kind of stopped and glanced over at one another. And I was just shocked that he was bold enough out of nowhere to ask his father, does Jesus live in your heart? And Ronnie told him, well, buddy, it's not really that easy to explain. And Brendan said, well, if we all die, are you going to be in heaven with us? And there was a moment of silence where Ronnie had to really kind of think about it, and he said, buddy, I don't think so. And Brendan said, well, Daddy, it's really easy, because you just ask Jesus into your heart and everything is okay. And Ronnie said, well, buddy, I wish it was that easy.
But he planted those seeds, and for the next couple of months, God was really knocking on my heart. And I'm sure he had been the whole time, but I was finally able to hear him. And a couple of days later in the car, driving, I finally gave in and said, God, 34 years of this by myself, and I'm not where I want to be. I need you.
It was a very silent car ride, and Ronnie broke down and said, I'm tired of this. I can't do this anymore. Changes have to be made. He said, if nothing else, to save our family and to change the legacy for our children, things have to change. We are starting to really build a spiritual foundation with a God-centered relationship in our home. We're still very much baby Christians, and we were sitting at the dinner table just having our normal conversations, talking about our day, and out of nowhere, Brendan looks at me and he says, Mommy, I used to know that God was around me, but ever since I went to Victory, I feel him with me all the time.
After that dinner and that conversation, we decided to try Victory that Sunday, and that trying Victory has turned into being at Victory ever since. Our kids are involved in the student ministries. They volunteer. We've even kind of followed that and try to volunteer some on Sundays and some other places. The growth in our family is just exponential. It's if you didn't know us before, you can't measure it because you just don't realize. But those that knew us before and see us now, we're far from the same people. Our kids are even far from where they were spiritually. We all are. We're not newborns anymore. We're growing up spiritually, and it's life changing. It's the only thing looking back is I wish we wouldn't have waited so long.